deep in your love. Balls deep in your love. Balls deep in your love. Balls deep in your love.
I swear we're going to get a new song eventually.
Soon. Eventually.
Someday.
One of these days.
If you'd like to contribute a new song for us to start the show with, send it over to shredshackmetal@gmail.com.
Any local San Antonio bands want to record a new theme song for the Shred Shack, please.
Yeah, with a whole lot of wheedly wah and ragga-dagga-dagga, please. Until then, greetings,
And
folks.
make sure that the title has something in parentheses.
Yes, in fact, a parentheses inside parentheses would be even better. So, until that happens, greetings, folks. I'm Dan Mack.
And this is Chris Mack.
And we have a microphone set up, but for some reason there is no Pete.
Grabowski.
We decided that we did not want to walk all the way across the parking lot to go knock on his door. Although I did come up with the brilliant idea of having the boombox play Five Finger Death Punch in the say anything kind of way.
Yeah, totally not boomboxing Careless Whisper over him.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It's totally not boomboxing Careless Whisper. Yes!
When I whisper, sir, I am very careful. And I suggest you do the same.
All right, so let's start off as we always. I didn't even go through the entire intro. You're listening to the Shred Shack right now. In case you
This
didn't
episode
know.
has already gone downhill.
Oh, that's what I need. I need the oh you didn't know thing from Road Dogg. In case you didn't know, you're listening to episode 81 of the Shred Shack podcast, your weekly, sometimes weekly source of news and uninformed yet heavily biased opinions pertaining to all things heavy metal. And we are starting off with old business.
Old business is old business, and new business is new business.
I was ready.
All right, and according to TMZ, Dan's favorite website, a preliminary investigation to Chester Bennington's suicide has turned up no apparent signs of drug use at the time of his death. Law enforcement say investigators found no illegal drugs or prescription drugs while searching the Linkin Park frontman's home following his July 20th passing. It was previously reported that there was a partially consumed bottle of alcohol in the bedroom where the 41-year-old singer was found hanging. It is not presently clear if Bennington had any drugs in his system at the time of his death. Toxicology results are pending.
I have nothing to follow that with, so we're going right into new business.
Right on.
And this is new business, and we do not discuss new business until next quarter.
And with new business, we start off by talking about new releases, and it looks like we're back to the norm because you have stuff and I don't. So.
Yeah. Well, this one I was actually kind of waiting for because
Because of the name, right?
because of the name. Plus, I also heard like a track or two before the album came out, and the band is called Doom Side of the Moon. Okay, and just as it kind of sounds like, it's a side project of the guitarist from The Sword, Kyle Schutt, and it's pretty much just their first release is an entire cover of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon in the Doom style, and it is fucking awesome.
How long is the album?
38 minutes long, 40 minutes long, close enough.
Wasn't the original album over 40 minutes?
They cut out some things
Okay,
here
I was
and
going
there.
to say. I was
Not
like,
much, but they cut out some things. It's pretty much a very, very, what's it called?
an abridged version.
And I wouldn't say a very abridged, but it's a very true tribute to the album.
Okay.
You know, they just change things. They don't change much, you know, but what they do change makes it sound a little bit doomier. It's not like what you would think of as far as doom goes, because it is a little bit like it keeps the pace of the songs. Like, these songs aren't like excruciatingly slow or anything like that, but they change some of the sounds of the guitars. Like, they're a lot heavier, and it's just a really good, very good cover of an entire record. I mean, they did the entire fucking thing, and it's really good. I highly recommend people checking that out.
Okay.
All right, and the second thing I listened to was the new record, "Enter the Arena" by Warbeast. These guys are from Texas, by the way, which is kind of cool. But apparently, this is their last record. They're breaking up after this, and this record very much reminded me of a little bit of Lamb of God, like the Southern groove metal, kind of like almost like Pantera, Lamb of God kind of thing. But then some of their guitar solos reminded me very much of Kerry King, Slayer solos. Mm-hmm. So it was a good mix of groove and thrash metal thrown together. I actually really enjoyed it.
So overall, beating you down, right?
Yeah, pretty much a pummeling.
You're pummeling me! It's really painful!
I didn't even know that word was going to be in that clip. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, I think isn't Warbeast? I think one of the members has some sort of illness?
Yes. Yeah, I think it was the singer.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say because the name's been coming up a lot lately. So.
And there's one other record that I wanted to listen to, but for some reason the stream wasn't working, and that's the new one from Dead Cross, and that's the supergroup with Dave Lombardo and Mike Patton.
Oh snap!
Yeah, so I wanted to get a listen to that. The freaking stream wasn't working, so I'm going to try again later and see how good that is.
But what else were you listening? Oh my god, there's so much nerdy prog shit on your list. Holy crap!
Well, I make no apologies, so go fuck yourself.
Well, you're a nerd!
Well, not all of it. Okay, anyway, so of course, Tesseract, Polaris, and Altered State, the last two records that they put out, just because they're incredible. Static X, Wisconsin Death Trip, did a little nostalgia trip to that this week. Slipknot, self-titled, just because.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, right? Soilwork, The Ride Majestic, Mudvayne, LD50, just because that one's, I think celebrating an anniversary very soon. That's why I listened to that one, or at least it came up in the newsfeed recently.
Yeah, I was gonna say because that's I mean, it's maybe coming up on its like 17th.
17.
Yeah, but that's no reason to
I think it was just one of those things where one of the metal websites was talking about why that album was actually a pioneering one for the time that it came out or something like that.
I was gonna say 5s and 10s, baby. 5s and 10s.
Yeah. Royal Thunder, the last two records, of course. Devin Townsend, Epic Cloud, just because. Periphery and Astronoid, only because of what we will be talking about later. Volbeat, Seal the Deal, and Let's Boogie, just because it's fucking incredible. I can't get enough of that record. The new Mastodon record. Anything by Night Flight Orchestra. And there was one more thing I was listening to this week. I forgot what it was, so couldn't have been that good.
Well, I wrote down stuff for not this past week, the week before it, because we had a 2-week lapse in between episodes. So I only wrote down what I listened to the first week, which was Quiet Room Introspect, which I got from all those Metal Blade sales years ago.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Great record.
I have that one too.
Yeah. The Stone Temple Pilots and Chester Bennington EP that they released a couple of years ago, which is really good. Listen to Soilwork, Figure Number 5, and The Ride Majestic because I've been redoing my office and I finally got a chance to have access to some of the CDs that were unfortunately blocked by clutter, and I realized that I have all of the Soilwork albums, including The Ride Majestic, which I thought I didn't have. So surprise, haha. Yeah, that's a good day for me. And the other one that I wrote down here is Mutank. Their album's called What's That? And it's an abbreviation. I'll just get into this real quick. We covered Mutank on episode 14 of the S5, the dark episode, because they are thrash. They're more punk-inspired thrash, so they could have gone on the light side, but the vocals are a little bit harsher for the most part, so I felt they're okay on the dark side. But the entire album is written, all the titles and everything are written in acronyms. And I'm not sure about the song titles themselves, but the album is short for, and I probably have the specifics wrong, but it's like, we have a lot of thrash songs that have abbreviated titles. That's roughly what it translates to. So what's that means we have a lot of thrash songs that have abbreviated titles. And I thought that was fucking hysterical.
That's pretty clever.
Yeah, so I liked it. The EP is no more than maybe 15 minutes. And it's really fucking good. I liked it. I don't know when it came out, so I can't consider it among the new releases or not. I don't remember. But I really enjoyed it. Whatever month it came out, which is probably June, it may end up on the top 3 for that month because it was just good, quick, solid listen.
Sweet.
As for the rest of this week, it's been a lot of randomness. I've been listening to a lot of Winter Calling because that's the album I'm doing the review on next. Just whatever, I'm in my car, play random stuff. I loaded up a bunch of those MP3s I told you about on my external drive. So I've been listening to a lot of this random fun stuff. SR-71's cover of Let It Whip. The theme to Rawhide by the Blues Brothers.
What? And all I'm thinking about is "Party All the Time" by Eddie Murphy.
That is sadly not among the list, but it will be soon. Certainly will be soon. But yeah, so, and just kind of preparing, listening to it, like, pretty much when I'm doing, like, the S5 episodes and everything, I gotta, like, get an earful of things and get prepared. So usually it's a lot of one-off stuff, getting ready for our Shred Shack Bees Nest. So that's it for what's going on this past week. Let's talk about general news.
All right, so first one up here is Devil You Know. The band fronted by former Killswitch Engage singer Howard Jones has changed its name to Light the Torch. The group says, quote, after member issues and legalities continued for a year with no end in sight, we collectively felt it was time to put Devil You Know to rest. Every effort was made to avoid this decision, but it is needed, had to be done for the sake of moving forward. Light the Torch's debut disc will be released later in the year via Nuclear Blast. It is speculated that Devil You Know's name change was prompted by a dispute with the band's former drummer, John Sankey, who left the group in June of 2016.
I actually didn't. Thank you, Bruce Willis. For those who didn't hear, there was a little snippet of Die Hard with a Vengeance. If there was going to be any movie that interrupts this podcast, it is that movie. So
yes.
I'm perfectly okay with that.
And
Carry on.
It's been on like just repeat on Cinemax for like the last like month.
That's right. You can carry on with that shit because that's a great movie. I want to watch it now.
Right.
Let's just shut this down and watch that movie.
We should just record our reactions to it as we watch it.
Seriously, that's the new podcast. I had nothing for that. I didn't know that was even happening. I didn't even normally I kind of see the headlines as I'm passing through, but didn't even know that was a thing.
All right. Well, this fall, Harper Nonfiction will publish "What Does This Button Do?" the hugely anticipated memoir from Iron Man frontman Bruce Dickinson.
Oh no! All of this jism!
I totally just said Iron Man frontman, by the way.
You totally did, but
totally
that's perfectly fine. Because I knew what you were talking about, and I was still ready to go.
Then grease me up, woman!
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for that. And in preparation for that, I might actually finish reading the biography of Iron Maiden that I bought years and years ago.
God forbid.
Well, actually, I have 2 copies of it, so one of those copies I'll finish.
One day.
One day. Someday.
All right, ready?
Yes.
Have that, I can play that clip ready.
Yeah.
For the past few months, rumors have been circulating about a new secret project, including former Dream Theater members Mike, I Can Play That Portnoy.
I could play that.
And Derek, I Can Play That Sherinian.
I could play that.
It has been officially announced that they will be reuniting to form Sons of Apollo with Ron Bumblefoot Thal, who used to be in Guns N' Roses, Billy Sheehan, who plays with the Winery Dogs, Mr. Big, and David Lee Roth, and Jeff Scott Soto, who used to sing in Journey, Yngwie Malmsteen's Rising Force. Their debut album, Psychotic Symphony, will be released October 20th on Inside Out Music.
Because of course it's going to be on Inside Out Music.
There's actually nothing bad about this at all.
No, this sounds pretty like it has every opportunity to be a great release. The only problem is that a lot of times with supergroups, especially prog supergroups, it can be potentially boring.
Well, the funny thing is not the funny thing, but the good thing is that as of late, Mike Portnoy, because he can play that, doesn't put out bad things. And the thing is, this is going to be his second project with Billy Sheehan. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he's already played with Derek Sherinian. And Ron Bumblefoot Thal is just a really good guitarist. And we know Jeff Scott Soto from his time in Journey. And that Soto solo release that I got from Pat in the latest Pat Gessner Box of Fun was fucking heavy as fuck, which I did not expect. So I expect this one to actually be pretty fucking badass.
Well, we shall find out.
All right. Brian Johnson's car took a tumble while the AC/DC frontman was qualifying for the Celebrity Challenge Trophy race at the Silverstone Classic. Thankfully, Johnson emerged unscathed in the incident after being tended to by medical personnel.
Dude, really?
He's a race car driver.
No wonder you're deaf.
That was actually what he contributed his deafness to, was racing cars.
That's fine, as long as he's okay, of course.
Yeah.
So, So let's go on to some recording news.
All right. August Burns Red will release its 7th full-length album, Phantom Anthem, on October 6th via Fearless Records.
Willie hears ya. Willie don't care.
Sorry, I don't like Alex Burns Red. So. But that is going to be my new, we're not going to be tagging them clip.
Nice. I like that one. All right. Here's a long one. To mark the 25th anniversary of Stone Temple Pilots' Core, Rhino will release 2 versions on September 29th, which is 25 years to the day of the album's original debut. The first is the Core Super Deluxe Edition, which is going to cost $79.98, which includes 4 CDs featuring a newly remastered version of the original album, plus more than 2 hours of unreleased demos and live performances, including the band's performance on MTV Unplugged. Also included is the original album on vinyl, and a DVD that contains a 5.1 surround sound mix of the album, along with videos for the album's 4 singles. The set, which is limited to 15,000 copies worldwide, comes packaged in a richly detailed hardcover book, which is 12 by 12, with rare and unseen photos. The music from the Super Deluxe version will also be available via digital download and streaming services. Also available on the same day is a 2-CD Core Deluxe version, which is going to cost $19.98, containing a newly remastered version of the original album expanded with rare B-sides and previously unreleased demo. A single disc remaster of the original album will also be available. They're doing it right.
Okay. For the most part, yes, I'll agree with you on that one, that they're doing it quite well. The only thing I would say I don't really care about is the DVD with the 5.1, because again, I don't have that kind of that super sound snobbery that people would go for with 5.1 surround sound. I don't care, and I really don't need the videos for the 4 singles. I have YouTube for that. I mean, to be perfectly honest, everything else though, I kind of like all that stuff, and including the fact that they're even throwing in the vinyl copy, because why the fuck not?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
So that's pretty deluxe. I already have the album, so I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I don't have that kind of money right now either. So, but still, like, that's. Hold on, let me.
Oh no! All of this jism!
That is actually, if some other bands did a similar thing, like Iron Maiden did a similar thing for a seminal album that I needed to have, I would be like, yo, the next Arion album came out like that, I'd be like, yo, dude.
Brave New World bucks.
Like, seriously, can I just sign over my next paycheck to you?
Bastards.
Seriously.
All right. Next up, Cannibal Corpse have completed work on their new album due this fall via Metal Blade Records.
Have they released an album while we were doing this show?
Yes.
They have.
They have. I don't have it.
I was just trying to. I'm trying to remember. It must have been early on, because we've almost hit the 2-year mark.
We've passed 2 years now.
We started in August.
No.
It is August. Holy crap!
Our first podcast, we recorded the first podcast like the weekend I got laid off from my studio job.
You know what? You keep going.
All right.
I'll look this up.
Motorhead will release Undercover, a collection of some of their best covers, and a collection which will include the previously unreleased version of David Bowie's timeless classic Heroes. Recorded during the Bad Magic sessions in 2015 by Cameron Webb, it was one of the last songs the band recorded together. Undercover will be available on September 1st in one CD digipack, 180-gram black vinyl in gatefold Super Deluxe box set. Oh, 8 gatefold. Then there's also a Super Deluxe box set which is going to have the CD digipack and the vinyl and a VIP guest pass. There's going to be digital audio and other audio available as well. Now, here's the track listing. Breaking the Law by Judas Priest. God Save the Queen by your favorite band, Sex Pistols.
Before you carry on, August 3rd, 2015 was the first episode.
Okay, well, today is now August 6th.
Yes, well, so we are... How is it already August?
Did July even happen? Like, I don't know.
Last time I was awake, I'm pretty sure that it was New Year's Day.
Anyway, there's Heroes, of course, Starstruck. They also cover Cat Scratch Fever, Jumpin' Jack Flash, Sympathy for the Devil, Hellraiser, Rockaway Beach, Shoot 'Em Down, and of course Metallica's Whiplash.
Now, Hellraiser is, I'm assuming, the same one that Ozzy does.
I guess I'm not sure.
'Cause I'm pretty sure a good portion of the songs from No More Tears, the album, Lemmy had a hand in.
Well, these are cover songs.
I know. I'm just saying, like, 'cause I don't really know Rockaway Beach.
Well, that's a Ramon song.
Okay. Well, then I know what it sounds like.
Oh, okay.
It's the same three chords over and over again, and yeah. Whiplash is the Metallica one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
That's been out for a while, I think.
That's the one they won the Grammy for.
Fucking hell, Breaking the Law is I can definitely hear them doing God Save the Queen. We don't care. Heroes. I know that was posted up online.
Apparently, it's really good.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it though. Apparently, it's very good.
And Starstruck is probably the Rainbow song, right?
I think so.
Yeah, which would probably be pretty cool because like he's got a good voice for doing that. I know that on the This Is Your Life CD that was Biff Byford singing it. That was pretty badass. So hearing kind of like the exact opposite of that was even cooler.
Cat Scratch Fever.
Yeah. Jumping like some of these songs, I know of them. I'm not too familiar. Like I really don't want to hear Motorhead's cover of Sympathy for the Devil.
It's good.
I don't really
It was on the last record.
I don't really like the song.
Oh.
It's not a big fan of that song in particular.
I just like it when Motorhead does covers.
Because I think a lot of that has to do with like just their general sound and his voice.
Yeah.
Like I would love to hear him sing like at the very least Stone Cold Crazy. Like
That would be fun.
Something completely drastically not Motorhead. Anything by Queen, I would like to hear Motorhead cover. Like, you know, that would be fantastic in my eyes. So.
All right, ready to move on?
Mm-hmm. I'm ready.
The Oblia Scaris have announced that their new album Earn will be released on October 27th through Season of Mist.
This is the part where Pete would say something, but he's not here, so fuck him. And he walks to the door as I say that.
Dun, 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 dun.
Play the John Cena theme as he walks in. Waboo!
RKO out of nowhere.
I can see Pete doing that.
I could totally see Pete doing that.
Just comes out
Because
of-
it really would come out of nowhere from him.
Of course, he had to come through the table to he would just land on the table, break it, and end up hurting himself more.
The kids would just be very upset if that were to happen.
It's okay. He'll put it back together.
Fucking boulder. Anyway, this one's really interesting. Metal Hammer's new 90s themed issue features a bonus CD dubbed Hammer Goes 90s. Though not all are exclusive, various artists have contributed cover songs for from that decade, and here's the track listing. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I saw some of this. So. Go.
Stone Sour doing Bomb Track.
Yeah, that
I want to hear the shit out of that.
Yeah, because we've heard Corey Taylor do rapping on older stuff, but something like this would be really interesting. You're wondering if he's actually gonna like sing it more,
I don't know.
or straight up rap.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
I think it actually is out there right now.
Uh-huh.
I think.
So one or two of these tracks are available elsewhere prior to this.
Well, most of these that's why I said not all these tracks are exclusive for the CD, obviously, because Hailstorms, Fell on Black Days was on their last covers EP.
Yeah.
Prophets of Rage, Shut 'Em Down, which is a Public Enemy cover. That's a live version.
Yeah.
Epica did Replica a long time ago.
Yes, that one I knew about. So.
Hatebreed, Refuse, Resist by Sepultura is out there. Powerwolf doing Nightcrawler is pretty cool. Enslaved is doing Jizzlobber by Faith No More.
Mm-hmm.
Cult of Luna is doing Bodies by Smashing Pumpkins. 36 Crazy Fists is We Die Young, Alice in Chains.
Mm-hmm.
Flesh God Apocalypse is doing a Carcass song called Heartwork. Whitechapel is doing Strength Beyond Strength by Pantera. Palm Reader is doing Bachelorette by Bjork, of all people, which is pretty fun. The 100, is doing New Skin by Incubus.
Now that's the one. That's one of the probably like the 3 or 4 that I'm most interested in hearing, just because I don't know the 100.
Yeah.
But if you're covering New Skin and making it metal, that might be a little interesting.
18 Visions is doing March of the Pigs by Nine Inch Nails. Were I Blind is doing Enjoy the Silence by Depeche Mode.
Mm-hmm.
The issue will officially go on sale. Already went on sale actually on July 25th.
Right on.
So Definitely might be worth a pickup just for that CD alone.
And what company? Metal Hammer. Okay,
Metal Hammer.
That's probably on YouTube by now.
All right, here's one for Dan. You know, it's going to make the list.
It's gonna make the list. Let me just see if I can find that. Hold on.
You just made the list.
Fozzy will release its new album Judas on October 13th via Century Media.
It's weird because Jericho was wrestling right up to WrestleMania. I think he did the pay-per-view after it.
Didn't he win? Didn't he beat Kevin Owens?
He beat Kevin Owens for the U.S. title on the pay-per-view afterward, then lost it the following night, which that title's going all over the fucking place. That's another show. But the thing is, like, around that time, around Mania time, the single was already released. Like, the video for the song Judas has been out for a good long time. It just feels like such a long time between the release of that single and an October release for the album. And I can't even speculate that it's because of anything in particular as far as the touring or the WWE schedule, because he just came back to the WWE as far as TV tapings go about a week ago. So he's back on that, and they just finished their tour, which they did only for like a month and a half. So maybe like in between times they're recording the album, but I thought they already finished it. It just, I don't know, it seems like a long time, but I'm cool with that. I got to catch up to their material. So,
all right, Ver, the new album featuring what's her first name?
Anarchy.
Okay. Van Giersbergen will release its debut album In This Moment. We Are Free Cities. I don't know what that's about, but it's going to be released on October 20th via Inside Out Music.
Of course, it's going to be Inside Out.
Of course, it's on Inside Out Music.
But speaking of prolific individuals,
right?
Anarchy's all over the place, and
everything that she has a hand in is always good.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah. So I can look forward to that.
Yeah, especially because this one's going to be more like after she left The Gathering, she did more of like an acoustic, almost like folky type stuff, or solo wise. I think this is actually supposed to be like an honest to God metal band. So that's going to be cool.
Yeah, because with the Gentle Storm, it was kind of a mix between the two. So
well, that was also, it wasn't her project totally.
Yeah,
I mean, this is her project. Although she's had some help. When I read the article, she's had some help writing this album with the producer, who's Joost van den Broek.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And speaking of prolific people lately,
one of the guys from Periphery had a hand in writing some of the songs, and a couple other people had hands writing songs on this record. So it should be pretty awesome.
I was gonna say, I think Joost should probably take a little bit of time off. He's the one who put together a good portion of Theater Equation, from what I understand.
I thought he was like one of the main guys.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like he had to orchestrate that whole thing. That's a lot of work. So, which means he's probably not orchestrating the current live shows that Ariane's gonna be doing.
Huh.
So,
well, that's it for recording news.
No, you missed it. You said Slayer.
Oh, whoops, you're right. Slayer's concert last night, August 5th, at the Forum in Inglewood, California, was reportedly filmed for a forthcoming DVD.
I don't really think they need a forthcoming DVD at this point. What they should do, if they want to release a DVD, is do something old.
Like they did...
They should release like a DVD for Decade of Aggression. That... Like, I'm perfectly fine with bands releasing live stuff as long as it kind of covers the entirety of their stuff. Like with Queen in particular, like they released Wembley and Live Aid and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, it's them at their worldwide huge popularity. But when they released Live at the Rainbow, I was supremely happy because it was like 74, 75, like just before Night at the Opera. So they were young and hungry, and it was fucking great to see because I had not seen anything like that prior. So with bands like that, I don't want to see. I usually don't want to see new stuff or like an abundance of new stuff because I think Slayer's released 3 other DVDs in the last 15 years.
I have one of them.
Yeah, it's War of the Warfield.
That's the one.
Raining Blood Live, or something like that. And I think there was another one. It's like, that's cool and all, but. So let's go on. Oh crap! I lost my thing. What are we going on to? Lindsay, stop.
Crowdfunding. All right. So first up is Nitro, who's trying to raise $135,000 for their new record. Right now they're holding steady at $21,967.
Remind me of what Nitro was. I know.
Nitro is the reactivated band by Michael Angelo Badio.
Yes.
And he's picked up Chris Adler from Lamb of God, and he's also got Victor Wooten playing bass, and of course original singer Jim Gillette.
Mm-hmm.
So they are recording their new album, and they need money for it.
Mm-hmm.
They released a new track. It's on the website for their on Indiegogo, and it's probably just out there right now. Apparently, it's very good. I just haven't listened to it yet.
Okay.
All right, next one up is Matt McKenzie from... I forgot what the band was. Anyway, he's the one that has leukemia, and he's trying to raise money for his medical bills. Their goal is $10,000, and unfortunately, this one has not done very well. They only raised $270.
Okay.
Bummer.
We'll have to put the link to that one in the episode description.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. Next up is a new one. I actually wrote this one out. A fan named Janelle Dunaway attended a Spite show a couple weekends ago at the Roxy in Denver, Colorado, and received multiple skull fractures as well as 4 of her teeth being knocked out after being struck in the mosh pit. The security footage of the incident was shared, though it's a bit hard to make out if the hit was intentional or accidental. It doesn't appear that the man involved was intentionally targeting her, given his apparent unawareness of her being injured afterwards.
All right. I'm going to go on a
mini rant here.
I don't care if it was if it was accidental, then you're swinging too fucking hard. If you were just incidentally moving hard enough to give somebody multiple skull fractures and knock out their teeth, you're doing it wrong. If you want to cause bodily harm, go home, turn up the thing, and thrash your own house. This is some dude who's like, yeah, I'm high kicking, and then probably knock somebody out. Probably would steel tip boots again. Probably the same fucking guy.
Well, their goal is $10,000 here, and they've raised $10,625.
Well, good.
However, unfortunately, there's been a couple updates here. The dental work alone cost $21,049. So they haven't updated it here on their GoFundMe page, but I think they're probably going to be looking for additional funds. Obviously,
at least they made the initial goal.
Yeah, definitely.
That's one of the things I like is that people have these. This is now what, the third or fourth time that we've had a similar event like this happen.
Yeah,
that people are actually contributing to something like that.
Yeah.
Because it just. General rule of going to shows, listening to any form of music. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. Be aware of yourself. Don't be a dick. That's just fucking terrible.
All right. Last but not least here is the GoFundMe for Jane Train, who is the manager of Adrenaline Mob, who has burns over 63% of her body from the horrific accident that happened a couple weeks ago. Their bills are substantially steeper. Their goal is $350,000.
Jesus.
Yeah. I'm sure that every last dollar is going to be needed for what she's got to go through. So far, they've raised $17,630. Now, this is one of the ones that's GoFundMe. This is not one of the ones that has an end date, so it is continuing and continuing on. And people are still donating in the last couple hours, so, I mean, just not as steady as it was. So hopefully they get some kind of uptick.
Well, the links to that one, to all the ones that we just mentioned, will be up on the post for this podcast on our Facebook page, and I usually include them also in our YouTube re-upload. So be sure to go to these sites, and if you have a little bit of extra cash, be sure to contribute. And seriously, don't be a dick. All right, let's go on to some concert news.
All right, first up is festivals. Korn, Chevelle, Avatar, and Gemini Syndrome have signed up for the upcoming Cat Fest. Listen, which is being put on by... excuse me.
I'm trying to listen. You just keep coughing.
I know. Which is being put on by Rock 100.5 The Cat, which is why it's called Cat Fest.
I got that.
You douche. The event will be held at the Zoo Amphitheater in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, on October 1st. With tickets go on sale they went on sale this past 2 Fridays ago on July 28th. Further artists for the festival are pending.
Just imagining like Korn on stage and there's just cats all over the stage. I can't think of any. Is there any Korn song that has the word "now" in it?
I think so.
Yeah, so we just changed it to meow.
Stop. Stop. Man. Dude.
Right, meow. Speaking of that, before you go on, did you see that the new Super Troopers film is ready to go?
Ready to go.
It is waiting for the all the promotional crap to get started.
Which is just coincidental that we're talking about that now.
I'm super excited for that.
I'm sure you are.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Touring news. Yngwie Malmsteen will embark on the second leg of his 2017 World on Fire U.S. headlining tour in the fall.
You didn't write any hashtags there, so I can't even say anything.
I don't think it's coming here.
Well, you know, it's just... And then again, because...
Dream Theater have announced the third and final leg of their Images and Words and Beyond tour, which sees the band celebrating the 25th anniversary of Images and Words. The North American headline dates kick off October 25th at Oakland's Fox Theater. The trek takes the band through the U.S., including dates at New York City's Beacon Theater and L.A.'s Wiltern, as well as a stop at the Sony Center in Toronto.
Well, actually, this may not be entirely accurate. I've been seeing advertisements for a show coming up for Dream Theater here.
Austin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't have a...
And I know that they just came here with the Astonishing tour.
Yeah, they did. They did the Tobin Center, which I've never been to yet.
I've been past it.
I walked right past it, so...
All right. Here's one that's just weird. Live music's premier hologram production company, Illusion, today revealed initial dates for Dio Returns, the World Tour, featuring a hologram of Ronnie James Dio reunited with the late rock star's former bandmates from the Dio band. The tour will make more than 80 stops around the globe, kicking off in Helsinki, Finland on November 30th. It marks the first tour of its kind, breaking new ground and just taking money from nostalgic old people who can't let things go.
Where's the money? When are you going to get the money? Why aren't you getting the money now? And so on.
Yes, Fat Tony.
I gotta say though, like this on paper it sounds cool.
No, it doesn't.
On paper it sounds cool.
It sounds like Pink Floyd Laser Light Show.
For the one-off thing that they did, if you do like one big show somewhere, anywhere, wherever, that's fine. A whole full tour of it, that sounds a bit hokey.
It sounds like cash grab.
Yeah, but
it's awful. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's...
No, sir, I don't like it.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up. No. Yeah, as a full tour, I don't like the idea. As the one-off thing, that was fine. As like a big tribute thing, like for one time, sure. But as a full tour, that just sounds like it does sound kind of like a cash grab.
Like, I mean, they did the whole hologram thing with Tupac Shakur. They didn't go put it out on tour. I mean, they just know that there's a whole lot of 50-year-old dudes that are willing to pay to see this shit.
See, the problem there, though, is that we all know that Dio has passed on. We're not sure about Tupac.
The same could be said for Elvis, dude. Shut up.
Well, you know what the problem is?
You can't handle the truth. No truth handler, you. I deride your truth handling ability.
So we don't know whether or not Tupac... And we are full aware that Elvis is still alive. Did you not see Bubba Hotep?
I'm just going to go back to that clip because one day I really wish that they would just release videos of Kelsey Grammer recording Sideshow Bob lines in the studio. I want to see that. Because that's got to be incredible.
Oh, yeah, probably. Every time he coughs up during the laugh, you know, the...
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway. Hashtag no San Antonio date.
Oh yeah.
Cue Sideshow Bob. This November, Cannibal Corpse will kick off a U.S. tour in support of their upcoming disc. Support on the track will come from Power Trip and Gate Creeper.
I know that. I'm sure Pete's upset about that one.
Yeah, because he saw them. It was almost 2 years ago now, isn't it?
Maybe something
close.
I don't remember.
Close.
There's been a lot of things between then and now.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Next up, Walls of Jericho's planned European tour that was set to commence in early August has been scrapped. The band commented, due to unforeseen circumstances involving our drummer's schedule and our fill-in drummer severely injuring his foot in an accident, we are not able to do this August festival run. We hope to see you all soon in the very near future. The trek was originally supposed to run from August 4th to the 13th. Hashtag Sploosh.
I'm not playing it for you.
Dude.
Nope.
Dude. We talked about this at the last podcast. There were rumors, but it's been officially announced that Periphery and Animals as Leaders will be co-headlining a tour, and they will be coming here to San Antonio. I didn't even write down the date. Don't care, because I'm going. And the thing is, the date that they pick up, the date that they're coming here is the first date that Astronaut is on the bill. So November 17th, I believe, was the date. And it's at the Alamo City Music Hall.
Let him go. You'll stay here with me. We'll go bowling.
I mean, I'm sure the bands are good. I just have no interest in that shit whatsoever. So you're gonna be reporting
Where's
on
the
that
boulder?
one.
Where's the boulder? I need the line. Go fuck yourself. All right? Go fuck yourself.
No, he is not here right now.
Well.
He cannot help you.
Well, hashtag all of this jism. All right. Trivium and Arch Enemy have announced plans for a co-headline tour across North America this fall, featuring support from While She Sleeps and Fit for an Autopsy. The trek will kick off on October 27th or in Orlando, Florida, and make its way across the U.S. and Canada before finishing on December 6th in Houston, Texas. There is a San Antonio date on December 5th at the Alamo City Music Hall.
I want to see that just largely for the sake of seeing Trivium. I'm actually still very bummed that I missed their last time they were here because it was them and Alter Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Alter Bridge?
Was it?
No, it was Tremonti.
Oh, yeah.
No, it was them
yeah.
and Tremonti, and I would have loved to have caught that. So.
Yeah, so.
But
still, Arch Enemy, I haven't seen Arch Enemy in years, and Angela was still their lead woman for a while.
When she told us that we all have fucking eyes.
No. I saw them after that.
Oh, well then.
Like twice after that, actually.
Well then.
3 times. Yeah. Anyway. Last bit of touring news here. Papa Roach has canceled its previously announced shows in Oregon, Illinois, and Alaska so that singer Jacoby Shaddix can undergo vocal cord surgery.
Willie hears ya. Willie don't care.
I love that clip.
I'm going to throw stuff in there that you don't care about just to hear that clip. This is going to be great.
I got 1 or 2 more that I'm like, I need to find the perfect point to use it. So.
All right. Well, that's it for any kind of concert news because there's no one-offs.
Well, okay, cool. Well, it's nearing the end of summer, so we're hitting that point where, like, I guess the festival stuff is dying down.
Well, now we're probably going to get announcements for next year's festivals.
Okay. Let's go on to heavy metal in the charts then. And it looks like you have some noteworthy points.
The noteworthy point here is, according to Billboard, Linkin Park has a record-breaking 23 titles on Billboard's Hot Rock Songs chart dated August 12th, less than 3 weeks following the death of the band's lead singer, Chester Bennington.
No surprise?
No
That's
surprise.
That's a high number. I'm trying to think of, like...
I think the previous record was held by David Bowie.
Damn.
After he passed.
I'm trying to think, like, of artists who would have that kind of push, should they ever pass away. I'm surprised that like Prince wasn't up there with the record.
Again, it's crossover appeal.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's also multi-generational.
My initial thought, and I hope the man never dies, Dave Grohl. Foo Fighters have a shit ton of songs. So I thought maybe like I don't know if they would. I don't think they would hit the same heights as Linkin Park, just because Linkin Park is as kind of universal as they have been. Whether or not you listen to them now, you definitely listen to them at some point. Don't fucking lie.
Well, all I know is that when we get into like the charts here, I'm like,
Yeah.
they have so many albums that I don't even remember. Like, holy fuck, they have that too, and that, that one.
I think after a certain point, I I'm sure you've never been that big of a fan of theirs.
Not the biggest, no.
Yeah, and
no.
even I, like, I kept up with it, but like it was one of those things where every year and a half, 2 years, I'd be like, oh crap, they have a new album. Whoa. So, yeah, it's definitely not a surprise there. So.
All right, are you ready? Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to go to the Billboard Top 200, and we might as well just get Linkin Park out of the way right off the bat. Mm-hmm. It's because there's so many.
Yeah.
All right, we got One More Light at number 4.
That's the new one, right?
I believe so. Mm-hmm. Hybrid Theory is at number 8. Meteora at number 11. Minutes to Midnight at number 27. These are all the ones that were on the charts the week before, and now they're still there. Now these are albums that are re-entering the charts this week. Living Things re-enters the charts at 80. Collision Course, which was their album with Jay-Z, re-enters the charts at 116. 1,000 Suns re-enters the charts at 117. And The Hunting Party re-enters the charts at 184. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. Obviously, I would expect One More Light to be pretty high up there, as would Hybrid Theory and Meteora. And even Minutes to Midnight, because I think that's... it has one of my favorite songs by them, but I think that's also the same album that has What I've Done, which is the song that got a huge push thanks to the Transformers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything else kind of falls into the category that we were just talking about as far as things that kind of, for us, flew under the radar. For fans, I'm sure, they're well aware. But for us, they kind of flew under the radar. I even forgot about the Jay-Z one.
Oh, I didn't forget about that one. That was actually really fucking good.
Okay, well, there you go. But yeah, no surprise there, but that's a lot. Like, I don't think some of the previous bands, the pre artists that have passed away, they didn't have... I think Prince had a lot on the list. I don't think David Bowie had that many when he passed.
I think he had close. It was close.
Yeah. Prince definitely was like all over the fucking place for a while. So that one was more fresh in my mind. But yeah, that's
All right. Well, let's get on to the rest of the charts here. Mm-hmm. 9 Inch Nails, their new Add Violence EP debuts at number 17. Mm-hmm. In This Moment's new album Ritual debuts at number 23. Hardwired to Self-Destruct by Metallica is at 87 from 66, so it's a little bit of a downturn, making room for all those, Linkin Park records. Mm-hmm. The Black Album is at 130 from 118. Incubus's new record, 8, re-enters the charts at 140. Nickelback's Shit is at 156 from 123.
Hold on.
Oh, you speak like a poet, but you punch like one teeth.
No reason to play that one, just wanted to throw it out there.
Nice. And the new EP by Polyphia. If you guys remember, a while ago, I covered this band when they had a new album out, and they were really fucking good. Mm-hmm. They have a new EP out I did not know about. It's called The Most Hated, and it debuts at number 162.
Right on.
Pretty respectable for them. All right, so let's go to the hard rock here. And let's do things a little bit differently.
Oh, crap, what?
We're just going to go from 25 to 1. Usually these are supposed to be countdowns. We've been doing 1 to 25. So let's go 25 to 1. Things are countdowns.
This is what, I need the clip from Wayne's World that says we fear change.
That would be when we actually add like a new segment after like 2 years.
Yeah, well, the crowdfunding one was last year, I think. So we're due for another one.
All right, number 25 is Aerosmith's Greatest Hits. Number 24 is The Who Hits 50.
Yeah.
Number 23 is Disturbed Immortalized. Number 22 is The Wrong Side of Heaven, The Righteous Side of Hell, Volume 1, Five-Fingered Death Punch.
Yeah, Pete. Can't handle that shit.
Boombox and Careless Whisper.
That's right.
Anyway,
Wham.
All the Right Reasons by Nickelback is at 21. Foo Fighters' Greatest Hits 20. Greatest Hits The Ultimate Collection by Bon Jovi is 19. Greatest Hits by Guns N' Roses at 18. Stone Sour Hydrograd at number 17. Led Zeppelin, number 16 with Mothership. AC/DC Back in Black's at number 15. Linkin Park's The Hunting Party at number 14. Projected is a new record. Their album is called Ignite My Insanity. They debut at number 13. The new shit from Nickelback's at number 12. Black Album's at number 11. Linkin Park's 1,000 Suns at number 10. Linkin Park and Jay-Z Collision Course at number 9. Hardwired to Self-Destruct number 8. Appetite for Destruction at number 7.
What?
Right? Living Things by Linkin Park is at number 6. Queen's Greatest Hits 1, 2, and 3 at number 5.
Cannot be derailed.
Linkin Park's Minutes to Midnight, number 4. In This Moment's new album, Ritual, is at number 3. Meteora by Linkin Park is number 2. And, of course, Hybrid Theory is at number 1.
Wow.
And that is Hard Rock for the week.
Well, we said the hard rock charts now are streaming sales, right?
Yes, they include streaming sales, which is why you have so many greatest hits.
So many greatest hits and so much Linkin Park, which is why the Queen one is greatest hits 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah.
That's not going away. Like,
no.
Like that and Back in Black, they're gonna be sitting there like, you know, in tandem on that list. Just
And same thing with the Black Album.
And maybe Appetite for Destruction.
Which I'm still pretty psyched that Hardwire is still up there.
Well, I think once the strength of emotions over Chester's suicide kind of fades a little bit and people listen to it a little bit less, it'll still have a strong presence.
No, I just mean as for a new album from that band.
But it's Metallica. You gotta expect.
But the thing is, like, Justice for All is still not up there. Master of Puppets is not up there. It's Hardwired and Black Album. So it must be how they're pushing it.
Yeah.
You know,
something's keeping it there. So
I don't know if if they're still on tour. I don't know if they're still giving away the album with the tickets if you buy them online. Yada yada yada. So that might still be keeping things up for them. But still, it's awesome to see a new record from an older band still up in that high in the charts to begin with.
right on. I like how a long time ago, since we're talking about segments for this thing, I put in commercial break.
And band interview.
Well, band interviews we don't do the
videos
audio
now.
anymore. We have the videos, but like commercial break, I was trying to like branch out. So if anybody has anything that they want to promote on our show, as long as it doesn't suck or promote the harm of other individuals, send us a commercial because we actually have a spot that is supposed to be for commercial breaks. Otherwise, let's go on to I Saw a Show. I'm very briefly going to go through this part because I have seen most of the bands that I'm about to talk about. I'm just going to kind of mention little tidbits and notes. Friday night at Bonds, Monkeysoop, who just got back from the second leg of their U.S. tour. And as always, Monkeysoop is good. Last time we saw them, we played the entirety. Last time we saw them, they played the entirety of the new EP. This was a little bit more kind of spread out. They played Three Little Pigs. They played Little Pink Dots. I'm fairly certain I heard Acid King, Congregation of the Dead, Something to Fear. So these are the songs that I wanted to hear. The surprise of the night, though, aside from the fact that Jerry's guitar died, and it was all very touch and go for a little bit, they played Highway Star, Deep Purple Highway Star.
Wait, Monkeysoop?
Yes.
As a 3-piece?
As a 3-piece, they played Highway Star.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
When not expecting it, and their version of it is fucking good.
Wow.
Of course. In fact, since I was there filming it, one of the best shots of the night that I got was Jerry playing the solo. So it was definitely a great rendition of it, and I hope they do more stuff like that. Because as much as I enjoy hearing Three Little Pigs, I want to hear something like Highway Star.
Yeah, that's badass.
That was very cool. Yes. I had Lindsay come with me. Lindsay got to see Monkeysoop for the first time. It's funny because this whole weekend was kind of a bit of like full circle in a way, because among the first local acts that we saw were Monkeysoop, which again I saw on Friday. Jessica Hill, who we just played another song from on the S5, and got word that they are getting close to finishing up the album. And then the next one up was SA Territories, who I ran into at the show last night.
That's the first local show that you and I went to see.
Yes, so
Loudwire
it came full circle
Wow.
for us for me in particular over this weekend.
Wow.
And yeah, so Lindsay finally got to see Monkeysoop because I've been talking about them for a while. So that was nice. She may be accompanying me to more shows because I keep saying like, "Hey, you should come with me." Yeah.
Taco Cabana afterwards.
Wait, we haven't done that. Oh, she'd take Whataburger over Taco Cabana. So.
Well,
Yeah, you can't say anything to that
Damn
because yeah, I'm thinking that most things she would take Whataburger over because.
My wallet and my stomach. Thank you for that.
But so the night after that was the I'm trying to think. There was a particular title given to it. I think it was called Powerhouse Metal Meets New Venom or something like that because of the fact that it's 4 bands. 2 of them are older artists, a little bit more of the classic side, and then 2 of them are newer bunch. And originally the lineup was going to be Seance, Zero the Hero, Rewired, and Even in Death. And apparently Even in Death dropped off, and Alpha Syndrome came on to the bill. I had never heard of Alpha Syndrome prior to seeing them on the poster for this and for the meet and greet that happened. Was it last? I think it was last week. So I never heard of them.
Last week, this would be the week after. So it wasn't this week.
I don't, dude. Time can suck it. So I'm just lost.
No, I did.
Chris,
Willie hears ya. Willie don't care.
shut up. Anyway,
I just got Pink Floyd stuck in my head now. Thanks.
we'll stop that.
No, I'm a nerd.
Yeah, you are. So meet and greet happened, and the 2 bands that were there for it were Rewired and Alpha Syndrome. So the new Venom side of the set. So I spoke to both bands, set up for an interview with Alpha Syndrome, who I got to sit in with on Thursday as they were preparing for tonight's show, or last night's show, sorry. So I did the interview with them, which the video should be out hopefully next weekend, because I still have to finish the Bifist interview, which is getting more significant strides in being done now that I've gotten the footage from the benefit show, which I should also talk about that too. I will no. Anyway.
I was gonna say I can just lay down.
Yeah.
If you want.
I got you a couch.
I got me a new couch.
Fuck your couch.
Well, it's mine now, you jerk.
Anyway, so Alpha Syndrome was new to me, and it turned out they are a new band. If I'm not mistaken, they formed in April of 2016, so very, very recent in my eyes, at least. And they have a couple of their songs available up on like Reverb Nation and YouTube and everything. From what it seems like, those are most of what they have as far as their own material. Because I guess it's like they finish the song, they'll record it, and they'll get it all set up and released. So I wasn't expecting more than half the set to be covers, which for some reason it just didn't hit me. So when I walked in, they were getting ready. I get up to the front and everything. Once they're ready, they cut right into Walk by Pantera. And I was telling you before, that they, there's, I think 1 or 2 times that we've seen people cover it, they've done something different to it. They've kind of like changed the solo. I think Disturbed, you said in particular. Yep. No, these guys played it straight up.
Good.
So they did Walk by Pantera, Did My Time by Korn, Before I Forget, and Duality by Slipknot, Killswitch's cover of Holy Diver. Feel like there was one more, and then they did 2 of their own songs. As far as I can, they did 2 of their own songs. One of which was 6 Foot 8 Killing Machine, which I had shown you. Which I'm really digging that track.
That track was really good.
Yeah, we played that on the S5 this past Saturday. But they closed with a brand new track. I'm going to say that I need a recording of that song because it was extremely fucking good. So I'm stoked to hear that again in a future live show or in a recording so we can play it on the S5. A lot of potential here. So I'm looking forward to more great stuff from this band. As far as their on-stage energy, they all have a great presence. They all seem very comfortable on stage. Despite being younger guys, they all just kind of seem like they've been up there for a good long time. And then a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that they do have a lot of association with the School of Rock. So they've probably they've done stuff on stage before, I'm sure. So I'm looking forward to some great things from these guys. Next one up was Zero the Hero. Since I've seen them a handful of times, I'm going to keep it short. These guys always rock. Of all the bands here in San Antonio, these guys do the dual leads probably the most and the best. There's so much of that twin guitar harmonies. I need to listen to their studio stuff a little bit more. I spoke to Chris, who is he follows the show a lot and everything, and he will like a lot of our stuff. I talked to him about doing a potential interview in the near future, so that's going to happen. And it's always just a joy to see them because they are just very, very goddamn good. And then speaking of goddamn good, Seance came on third. Played for a full hour. What?
Just the way, speaking of goddamn good, it's like we've seen them so many times.
Yeah, we've seen Seance. I think this like after a while of not seeing Bifist more, and then every time Seance played, I couldn't catch them. I've seen Seance a lot lately, but they got a full hour set, and it's always great. I think energy-wise, these guys were at the top of their game. I think at the end of the show, Nacho said that it was a little bit of an off night, but I was like, I couldn't tell. I was quite happy. Everything looked good. They seem to have unveiled 2 new songs. I'm not sure if they were like brand new, like they wrote them here and now lately, or if they're just like from the vault that they were kind of retweaked and made new. But they played 2 new tracks. I don't know the name of the first one, but the second one I believe was called Warriors, and that one I think was the better of the 2. Looking forward to hearing that a little bit more. But yeah, the band doesn't disappoint. They are
awesome.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, I mean, like as far as a lot of the bands that play live around here, they do get a lot of the most crowd interaction. Like the 2 bands that Nacho's a part of, I feel like they have some of like the strongest fan bases here in San Antonio, and last night was definitely a testament to that. So always good to catch them live, and they should be finishing up their CD very soon. So that's gonna be good times because I would love to hear some of their stuff studio. Last band of the night was Rewired, who I had mentioned probably back in January because the last time I saw them was opening up for Seance when they headlined, I think, at Jack's in January. So yeah, wow, full circle weekend. And now I remembered the band kind of sounding a little bit like at its heaviest grungy, but a little more to the classic rock side of things. And now with more being up front, being able to pay more attention to it and everything, it's basically AC/DC meets Led Zeppelin. It's
I like it.
Yeah, no. If you had maybe a little bit more varied version of AC/DC with Robert Plant singing, you've got Rewired essentially, and great energy, especially from the guitar player. Like I'm sitting there and I'm filming this because I spoke to them at the meet and greet about doing an interview, and I'm sitting there trying to film it, and I can't focus on anything because the dude's all over the place, and I'm like, dude, stop, dude, stop. Dude, stop. Okay, if you don't forget you, I'm gonna get these guys. And then he runs into the shot I'm making. I'm like, dude, stop, get out of the way. Which is, obviously it's fine because like that energy that you see that is synonymous with like Angus Young. That like once the music starts, I'm just gonna bob my head and I'm not gonna stop till the song's over or the show's over. That was their guitar player. So they have great energy, great sound, and I was very happy with the fact that they went on after midnight, still had a decent crowd there.
Nice.
Because normally, like after a certain time, everyone just kind of gone. But still a decent crowd there. Put on great performance, great energy. Only thing was their set was cut a little bit short because it seemed that the guitar player's amp head was dying. So he was doing like he had his like little wireless thing and whatnot. He was trying to get it all worked out, and we thought it was that. Thought it was the guitar. Messing around for a good couple minutes. Turns out it's the head. So Bob had to give his or one of the band's amp heads to him to play. It's funny now. To start off the show, the guitar player. Unfortunately, I'm blanking on his name right now. I have the business card at home, but he puts the guitar up to the amplifier to create the feedback and everything, and starts getting ready. And as he turns around to start playing, the amp head dies, and just like it's like and it's like it's a Spinal Tap moment. It's not funny in the moment because it sucked for him because he was getting pissed, but just now it's kind of humorous. So, but I was definitely glad that they got to get their shit together and get on stage and actually play. you gotta be appreciative when the other band will lend you their stuff. Because even when I was talking about with the Monkeysoop thing and Jerry's guitar going, he had to borrow a guitar from the previous band that played.
Yeah.
So at least the bands are all good with each other like that. But great set. From what I understand, I think I saw something that the Rewired is going to be having a CD release party and show in the next month or so. It's between now and October. I know that. But I'm looking forward to that because like I said, they have a great sound. I know some of their stuff is up on YouTube right now, but I'm looking forward to hearing it, just newer stuff under hopefully or potentially different recording. So, and I think you should definitely check them out. You'll definitely like them.
Cool.
So, I've decided, this is kind of somewhat related to the show, if we ever go out of our minds and decide to make a Shred Shack movie, I am calling it Shred Shack, The Search for Bob's Guitar.
Okay.
Because once again, when I'm at a show, I tend to go and stand on stage right, so to the left.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, whenever Bifist or Seance plays, Nacho is stage right. Bob's always on stage left. I didn't hear much of Bob's guitar last night again, so I'm like, man, like I was able to hear a little bit of it, but I was like, man, I really need to stand over there next time, because I need to get more footage of him in general to add to anything that I'm going to be doing in the future as far as like videos go, but just I never hear the man's guitars, and that's my own fault. So, but for right now, let's go to our discussion real quick, which probably we didn't even necessarily need it after my long-winded, quote-unquote, brief discussion about the shows.
True.
But we have picked another Loudwire 10 list to talk about. And this one you just came across today. Yep. And it is 10 greatest metal songwriters of all time. Now I was going to try to keep myself oblivious to this, but then I looked at the script before and saw it, and I was like, well, there it goes. So.
All right. Well, countdown style here. Mm-hmm. Number 10 is Dio.
Yeah.
The man.
Now, question. Did they give any more specifics about what they mean by songwriters? They mean lyrically?
No. They didn't. I didn't read it.
Okay.
And the video, when you do play on the video, is just the list. They don't give any. There's probably parameters in the description, which I do not have queued up here. So.
Okay, well, I'm going to start talking about Dio if you want to pull that up and see if they had any sort of specific thing. Because I feel like with a lot of these guys, they might have been more specifically talking about lyrically. Because I don't really think of Dio as being more of the music maker for whatever he may have done in his career.
So. I just got the YouTube video, not the description.
We'll blank it here for a second.
No. It's all right. Go ahead.
But with Dio,
I'd have to go back and find. I found an article, and then this was at the end of the article with just the video, not the description of it.
Gotcha. So. But with Dio in particular, I don't think of him as the music maker for Solo, for Rainbow, for Black Sabbath, anything like that. I think of him more in a lyrical sense.
Which is probably why he's so low on the list, because I would expect him to be higher, personally. Not only because of like who he is and what he wrote about, but because of his prolificness. Because we're talking about Rainbow, we're talking about Black Sabbath, and we're talking about Dio. So that's 3 huge bands and a lot of material there. So they probably might be just going with the lyrical side for Dio as far as that goes. Yeah. Because then when you get to the other guys, there's definitely music.
Yeah. So. I'm not saying that Dio couldn't write music, because he was a bass player for some time. He was a trumpet player. I'm sure he could play guitar as well. So he probably did have a hand in that. But again, Dio being a singer, being a maker of at least a melody, I'm sure he had a significant hand in the direction of the music.
I was going to say, because when we get later on into like some of the other guys here, where he might not be an exact songwriter, but he was an arranger. Like he organized the songs. I mean, that's part of songwriting. So Dio probably had a very big hand in that portion of what he's singing over. Yeah. So
with Dio, like a lot of his, some people do give him flack for some of his stuff. People always get flack for fantasy elements to songs. People make jokes about the whole, overusage of the words no and never. But he is a provocative writer, at least. If you ever hear him talk about the intentions behind the song "Holy Diver," like you wouldn't have gotten that from the lyrics in that song.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's the idea behind it, that's what you say. That's cool. I'm liking it. And even the rock anthem ones that he does, "Long Live Rock and Roll," "We Rock," "Stand Up and Shout," "King of Rock and Roll." These songs don't sound cheesy or forced. They do sound very genuine, and they're coming from somebody who has held up the torch for his style of music for decades, or who did until he passed away.
Well, he's continuing with the hologram.
Well, I need you to stop.
Willie hears ya. Willie don't care.
But he held the torch for decades. So when he does it, it sounds more genuine and not just me trying to rile people up and get everyone going. And it's like I don't. If people are gonna raise their fist to a song like that, it's because they actually feel it, not because like someone's trying to get you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not. It's not intentionally anthemic. It just is.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about a lot of Dio stuff.
All right, number 9 are the dudes from Mastodon.
You're taking this one because I have nothing to say.
Well, I was actually very surprised that they were on the list to begin with, but I understand why. I think if you take modern day progressive and heavy music, these guys are incredible writers. What they do with their music is fucking incredible. It's highly complex for the most part, and very intricate musically, and their concepts are very good, especially the Leviathan album, which is fucking incredible. I mean, they have gotten a little bit of slack as of late for being more quote-unquote poppy. Their songs are shorter, they're a little bit more catchier, but I don't think that takes away from their songwriting abilities whatsoever, because they're actually writing heavy music that's accessible to other people, which is why they've been so successful in getting onto late night shows more often than not.
You say it, crossover appeal. It's fine.
I would almost venture to say that Mastodon is getting a little bit more crossover appeal than anything else. Only because they are getting that kind of recognition on the late night shows. They were thrown into that random cameo in Monsters University for no fucking reason. I think it's just a testament to their songwriting abilities. And all 4 of them as a collective do very well together. So I definitely was slightly surprised by it, but I definitely respect the decision.
Okay.
All right, number 8, another one that I'm probably just gonna have to take, and that's Mikael Åkerfeldt from Opeth. And if you listen to Opeth and you know how much I jockey those guys, their songwriting has been progressing from the very beginning all the way up to now. I mean, they've started off as a traditional black metal band, death metal band, and they have progressed and changed so much all the way up to Sorceress that their songwriting, I think, has improved by not sticking into a certain genre, by expanding their horizons and going through different songwriting styles. And I don't think he's done anything wrong in that sense. And I think they were on another list by Loudwire of bands that don't have a bad album.
With Mikael Åkerfeldt, again, I'm not as familiar with Opeth as I'd like to be. I'm working on that. Leave me alone. Shut up. I can appreciate their progression from their almost strictly death metal roots into what they do now, which is completely drastically different.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that they can flex the creative muscle as adeptly as they do, and to such great effect as they do, is a testament to, I would say, Mikael Åkerfeldt. I don't know how much involvement the rest of the band has, but the name Opeth on its own, I can say, has just this strength to it.
I think it's because there's you can't really talk about how much contribution the other band members have, only because there's such a revolving door as of the last couple of years. They've had since I saw Follow Man, at least 2 or 3 other guitarists have been in the band, a couple of different keyboardists, a couple of different drummers. I think the only mainstay that's been in the band besides Mikkel has been the bassist Martin. I mean, other than that, they just had this rotating door.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what drives the songwriting process in that band is Mikkel.
Now, I'm also not as familiar with them lyrically, but Hours of Wealth has some of my favorite lyrics from a metal song of all time. And it's not even a metal song. It's a very soft song. But I'm sure that there's significantly more like it. I would have to kind of sit there and read through it. So, but I'm sure, for my minimal knowledge of Opeth, I can pretty much say that they should be on here. Mikhail Eichenfeld should be on here. So I will say that for sure.
All right, number 7 is Dave Mustaine.
Fuck yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
And this is both musically and lyrically. I may not always agree with what Dave has to say, but when he's saying things,
he makes you listen.
He makes you listen, and even if it's generally, if you take Peace Sells is essentially vague enough that it can be attributed to either side of a partisan politic thing, you know. So that's on its own. So lyrically, he's always got the strong bite.
And that snarl.
Yeah, well, that makes it significantly more stronger, or just takes you back a little bit. So lyrically, he's always had just this power to it that I feel like some of the contemporaries have not been able to keep up with. Now, not saying that every single Megadeth song has had.
We've covered that.
Well, I'm just saying, even to the point of some of their mid-career stuff, things like Into Cryptic Writings, Into Risk, Super Collider we've talked about, they can't all be zingers, But when he's on point, he's on point. Even when he's even when he's doing like a quote-unquote diss track, it's still interesting and engaging. Like The Emperor from Dystopia. I fucking love that song. It's cheesy as shit because it's just basically saying like, "Hey, you're a punk, and I don't like you." Same thing with Something That I'm Not, which I wrote in my What Culture article that was pretty much written to Lars, saying, "You didn't make metal. Metal made you. You're an asshole." So even when he's doing songs specifically like that, I'm still okay with it. And musically, of course, we know that the man is extremely awesome. Door, stop fucking moving. We know that the man is awesome, but again, in the same way that lyrically they can't all be singers, musically they can't all be singers either.
That's for sure.
Which, again, even the ones that I do like, I can admit, some of it's. I like the song "Crush 'Em." That's not a good song.
No, it's not a good song.
It's not a good song, but I like the song "Crush 'Em." And even and speaking of lyrically, man, that's not talking about anthems that are trying to be anthems.
That was pretty.
Yeah. But when he's on, and we all know the early stuff as being
pretty incredible,
pretty goddamn incredible.
And I have to say, even as far as Dystopia goes, his newer stuff, I mean, it's just as good.
Yeah.
I'd have no problem with him on this list. In fact, I might have put him a little bit higher.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go on to number 6, and that is Chuck Schuldiner from Death.
Oh, Pete, take this one away.
Mr. Black.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Here's Pete. Go ahead, start.
Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah. See, I agree. That's awesome, Pete. Good job, Pete.
Well, frankly, I have one Death record, and I have to say that his songwriting is very, very good. As far as technicality goes, I think we talked about this when we talked about thrash albums and thrash bands. Death was considered a thrash band, although us sitting here would be they're actually probably the originators of the Florida death metal scene just because of the way they play, and that has all to do with the way Chuck wrote songs. And I don't think I've ever heard of a person that gets as much praise as this guy does for his playing ability and for what he's done as a songwriter in the limited time that he was around. as far as the influence goes, So I think that is very, very well due for him.
Okay. Yeah, I have nothing to say here because I actually don't think I've ever knowingly heard a Death song. So if anybody wants to enlighten me, please send any and all the albums to shredcheckmetal@gmail.com.
My address is.
Seriously, get a P.O. box like, hey, listen, I'm just going to start naming all these bands that I want CDs from. I'm like, yeah, I've never heard of them before. P.O. box numbers. I have no CDs from this band. This was a movie podcast. Like, I haven't seen the God. Oh yeah. By the way, we're giving you the Godfather box set. I gotta remind me next time.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Good, because Rachel got the other copy.
Yeah.
And all I got is my bones. All right. Next up, number 5 are the guys in Tool. Stop.
Willie hears ya. Willie don't care.
All right. We all know how Dan feels about Tool. Dan is a Tool. Anyway.
Oh, you speak like a poet, but you punch like one teeth.
The fact is, no matter what you feel about the fans of the band, you cannot deny the songwriting abilities of these guys. Dude, you know Anima. We listen to that endlessly.
My problem though is like, I will accept that they are all well versed in their stuff. I just think that there are more deserving bands for this list.
I just think maybe they would have been a little bit lower. Maybe like switch them with Dave Mustaine.
Yeah, like I'm sitting here just like kind of butthurt about them being higher than like say Dio. I think if Dio.
Well, the thing is, Dio. We talked about this. Dio might just be doing the lyric part of it. These are the 4 dudes who write for Tool as a collective. So that's probably why they are a little bit higher in there, because it's they're writing the music, the lyrics. Probably also include like the visual aspect of it too, because their music is very visual. And you just gave me the not impressed look from that meme. It's kind of terrible. Don't make that face again.
This is my shit eating face. Eating all that shit.
Yeah, you are eating all that shit. All right, so we might as well skip ahead because Dan is all sorts of butthurt and salty here. All right, because the next one up is James and Lars from Metallica.
I mean, for better or for worse, they're heavy metals, Lennon McCartney.
Pretty much.
So,
actually, we'll get into another one. I think it was more Lennon McCartney, but whatever. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
and it's true. It's true. So I mean, you pretty much go backwards from And Justice for All back to Kill 'Em All. It's those 2 dudes writing it all. So that's it. Number 3 is Rob Halford, KK Downing, and Glenn Tipton from Judas Priest.
Well, yeah. They I don't know how much more I can say about that. They did craft some of the best metal songs, both just straightforward and anthemic. They kind of had their hand on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Halford's gone on record as saying like he's not really he likes to sing songs about metal and leather and chains and things like that. He likes to sing songs about that. He's not a tits and ass guy, as he specifically put it. He can't sing songs like that. He's going to appeal to what appeals to him.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the music goes, KK Downing and Glenn Tipton are still considered probably the ideal as far as dual leads.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, not personally for me overall, because we'll get
know,
to that.
We know who that is.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But I mean, I can understand the reverence for this band. It's undeniable. And they did, and like I said, they did craft some of the best metal songs in their time. So.
All right, next up would be number 2, Tony and Geezer from Black Sabbath.
Let's just do number 1 real quick.
Okay.
Let's say what number 1 is.
Number 1 is Steve Harris, Bruce Dickinson, and Adrian Smith from Iron Maiden.
I still would have put Tony and Geezer at number 1.
Thank you. I would have done the same thing.
So in that case, for our conversation here, let's switch. Let's talk about Iron Maiden first. I love everything that Iron Maiden does. In particular, the songs that Adrian has a hand on, I feel like are a little bit more appeal more to me. Wasted Years is probably my favorite Iron Maiden song, and that's something he has a significant hand in. I'm pretty sure he had a significant hand in 2 Minutes to Midnight, some stuff like that. The three of these guys, because we know Steve Harris has a hand in everything Iron Maiden, so you know he's got a strong presence in all of it. And then the work that Dickinson and Adrian Smith did here and there, which I think is a little more significant than some folks recognize. It's always just been on point lyrically, musically, melody-wise. And I like the fact, because I know that Dave Murray has has a couple of songs to his writing credit, so does Yannick Gers. And even the one song that Nico did was very, very good. But this trio is melody. The best, not necessarily the heaviest, but some of the most melodic stuff came from these three individuals. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of trailing off here. So.
Well, let's just get back to what we would consider number one. That's Tony and Geezer.
Yeah.
I mean, the architects of heavy metal as we know it. Specifically Tony with the way he wrote his songs, sonically.
I feel like all four members should be a part of this one.
I think they probably wrote specifically Tony and Geezer because number one, Tony obviously wrote the riffs. Mm-hmm. Geezer wrote the lyrics.
Yeah.
I mean, except for during the time when Dio was in the band, yada yada yada. But when you think about the first 8 Black Sabbath records with Ozzy Osbourne, Tony wrote the riffs, Geezer wrote the lyrics. Mm-hmm. So that's probably why they get the top spot here.
Yeah, I can see that, but I feel this kind of undermines Bill Ward a little bit. Because
which is probably why he's not in the band anymore.
Well, because the drums were his drumming style. Like Black Sabbath is well known for guitar and for Ozzy, more so than even maybe Geezer, which is unfortunate. But Bill Ward was such a contributing factor to the band's overall sound. I feel, especially early on when they were more chaotic. His style just, he
had a very, I think I remember, it was in the Metal Evolution, that series that came out a couple years ago. He specifically talked about the way he drummed was more of a swing style, more of a backbeat style than a straightforward 4/4 beat. He had more of a jazz influence to him, which really contrasts with what Tony was doing, but it was so heavy.
But with the sound, when the way that a band is constructed, you usually assume that the drummer is going to be the one to keep time, keep everything in line, but it seemed exactly the opposite. It seemed like the drummer was the one who was about to go chaotic, and the rest of the band kind of kept it in line. Because Iommi's riffs, yes, awesome, but they were pretty straightforward. Until you gave him the chance to go to solo, and he went off the fucking rails.
On a Crazy Train?
I'll fucking shoot you. Why can't I say these things and you're like,
I second that motion with a vengeance.
Now, but I feel like like I said, especially early on, the chaos of his drumming style was a little bit more off the rails, and the rest of the band kind of kept it going. You're ruining the conversation.
You keep saying it.
What do I keep saying?
Going off the rails.
Whatever, motherfucker!
Shut up.
Michael Clark Duncan.
I'm talking.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I've already said what I. So you can.
Well, I think if I was going to go through this list again, I think I would change the order around a little bit. Mm-hmm. First off, we would switch Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath. So Black Sabbath is number 1, Iron Maiden number 2, Rob Halford and KK and Glenn would stay at number 3. Hetfield and Lars at number 4. I would move the guys from Tool down. I'd probably have them switch.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Nice. Yeah. I'd probably put the guys in Tool at number 8. Put Mikkel Ackerfeld at number 7. Move Dave from 7 to 5, and leave Chuck where he was, and Dio and Mastodon where they are. So I think my list would be number 10 is Dio, then Mastodon, guys in Tool, Mikael Ackerfeld, Chuck, Dave Mustaine, James and Lars, Priest, Maiden, Sabbath.
My only issue, which is the same thing I mentioned before with the whole thing with Tool, is I feel like there are some people that are being left off here that could be on here. Like the fact that Arian Lucassen writes almost all of his stuff, writes an insane amount of stuff, not just for Arion, but for a little bit of everything else, and it all is unified in some of its sound, but most of it is different enough. I mean, this isn't just me. Like when I like something enough, I know where it may not belong, but I feel like there should be some acknowledgement. Definitely think that Tony and Geezer, being the prototypical of the bunch, should be at number one, and then Iron Maiden at number two. So that's my.
I think it was when I told you about it. I said it was a pretty standard list with a surprise or two, and of course my surprises were Mastodon, the inclusion of Mastodon, Tool, Mikael Ackerfeld, and Chuck. Actually, those were the ones I was not expecting at all. And to see that some of the guys were as high on the list as they were was surprising as well. So that was, I think, it's a pretty well-rounded list that represents pretty much, all schools and kind of all eras of heavy metal to begin with.
It's the fact that Dio's on here at all pleases me, because for all the credit that Dio does get, I still feel, in the grand scheme of things, he is underrated. I can't say much more than that. I just feel he doesn't get as much appreciation for his body of work, for his skill, for his voice and everything, as, say, Ozzy does.
And one thing that I'm actually surprised about here, because they're probably more considered a hard rock band, or he's a hard rock writer, was Richie Blackmore. Like, why wouldn't he be on this one? I mean, with his stuff from Rainbow, Deep Purple, Blackmore's Night, which obviously not a heavy metal band, but still prolific songwriter to begin with.
If Loudwire were going to push that envelope there, then
you'd have to probably include like Queen.
Yes, I was going to say Queen.
Page and Plant.
In that case, I would have put Queen at number 2, or even number 1, because I heard the fact that that's a case of all 4 members.
Oh yeah.
All the members have had a hand in writing songs, writing hit songs in particular, to a point where that's where a lot of their contention came from. But they all had a hand at writing some of the best material possible. Now, Brian May and Freddie Mercury had a majority of it, if not most of it, but they all played their hand, and they all did it exceptionally well. They are some of the greatest musicians ever, to me.
And I think we're also just talking about like songwriters. So you got to talk about you talked about how Arya should be on here because of his productivity, his body of work and everything. But we also have to talk about what makes a good song. Is it popular? Are people listening to it? Are people singing it on a regular basis? Like when you talk about that, we're talking about some very popular and very sing-along and very like well-constructed songs here.
You know goddamn well that at least once every single day you sing Everybody Dies.
That's just because I'm talking about Game of Thrones.
And everybody dies.
That should be our closeout.
Yes. You know what?
That should be our outro.
You know what? That will be our outro in the future. But for right now, we're still keeping it at the other one, which I'm going to play in a little bit. But yeah, I do feel what you're saying. But again, even in that regard, it's a matter. That's a little bit matter of perspective as well. Quick thing I saw on Twitter yesterday.
On the Twitter?
On the Twitter's machines, on the interwebs.
On the interwebs.
There was a person who posted up some pictures of, I guess they had put up a video of some kind, and somebody commented saying, I was going to give your video a thumbs up, but you were playing Queen in the background, and Queen is the worst band alive. or worst band ever, or something like that.
That person does not enjoy life.
And the next two pictures were of the guy who received the comment blocking that person on Twitter with the caption that says "No regrets." So I can sit here and talk about Queen for days. And by talk about Queen for days, I mean I can just sit here and say it's good for
over and over
until
again.
I run out of breath and pass the fuck out.
I think my favorite thing that I've ever seen written about Queen was it was a Cracked article. They were talking about when he recorded "The Show Must Go On," and they open up like, not everybody likes Queen, but not everybody likes cute puppies or really strong orgasms either. But those people are weird.
Was that an article or was that a video?
It was an article.
Okay, 'cause I was gonna say that sounds like something that they would say in one of the videos, and I could totally use that clip. That would be fantastic.
It was an article, unfortunately.
But yeah, as much as I like them, I can understand that there are people out there who don't, who they'll as catchy as it may be, you're gonna hate it, So
we had the same conversation about just a couple weeks ago with bands that everybody loves that somebody can't stand, and Queen was mentioned.
Yeah, I can actually mention something more mainstream and popular. Ed Sheeran, you know who that is?
Ugh, you missed him. He was on the Game of Thrones when you walked in.
I had no idea. Like it's one of those things like I didn't know any Lady Gaga songs until somebody pointed out, hey, this is Lady Gaga. I was like, oh, cool, whatever. But I didn't know that certain things I was listening to were Ed Sheeran until it was pointed out to me. And I was like, oh, I fucking hate this song. Not because it's Ed Sheeran, but because I fucking hate this song. But like, why is this popular? This is just... And it has all the elements that could make any other artist good. But for some reason, something about his music I find atrocious.
Well, the worst part about someone like him is that even some of his fans hate his most popular songs. Like, I have a friend of mine, she's going to go see him, and she says, like, it's her favorite artist. She loves going to go see him because it's just him, a guitar, and, like, a loop machine. Mm-hmm. That's it. And that popular song, the Shape of You, or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah. Everyone I talk to who's a fan of his hates that fucking song. But that's the most popular song he's got right now.
That one, and there's like another two songs that I've heard recently, and like I said, there are the elements that if done by a different artist, I would enjoy it. But for something about the way something about him, his voice, the music itself, something is wrong.
He's a ginger. That's what it is.
No, it's not even that. It's not. I mean, they're.
Well, that's a contributing factor.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But like, I can't appreciate it. And I'm an open-minded person when it comes to music, but I cannot get into that. And again, it kind of plays into this conversation here, is that like you can see where people won't understand why something is considered great. Mm-hmm. I feel like the artists on this list all kind of stand the test of time. It's a matter of them not just writing one or two great songs. It's a matter of having a wealth of them. Mm-hmm. Considering the fact that, except for maybe Tool, and I'm not pointing them out, I'm not singling them out here, but
Are you sure?
Well, a lot of these folks, well, actually no, sorry, Tool and Death, Chuck Schuldiner, they have a lot more stuff that can be thrown, like, they have a lot more stuff that they can turn to say, look at my body of work. Look at this stuff. Isn't this great? This is what fans can point out to. Unfortunately, Death and Tool have smaller catalogs, so you can't really do that as much. But I guess those who are into them can have. I guess they have more reasoning behind it. You know, like there's less evidence to it. "Quote unquote" evidence to it, but they have more. What's the word I'm thinking of? I can't even think of the word.
No.
Yeah, but someone gets the idea.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to call it there because we've been doing this for a little while.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Actually, I was expecting this to be a little bit shorter of a podcast, but I think we're almost at the 2-hour mark.
Yeah. And Pete still not here. Pete didn't just happen to walk in, so.
Grabowski.
You suck. I hate you. But right now, unfortunately, some individuals are in need of food.
Warrior needs food badly.
So, Chris, do you have any closing statements to make?
I am the warrior, and I need food badly.
Okay. Well, until next time, I'm Dan Mack.
And this is Chris Mack.
On your way out, if you want to kill somebody, it would help me a lot.
That does work
That
perfectly.
works so good.